Welcome back to the James Show, Kate.
Hi, thanks.
I get, we don't always agree on the subject at hand, but you do a real good job of getting feedback from the listeners. After shows, if I have you on, I usually have at least an email or two, if not 20, talking about our segments. So you're always appreciated on the show, even if we don't agree.
Yeah, well, I think it's good to have some healthy debate, and maybe some minds will change. Who knows?
Well, let's get into it. Your favorite illegal immigrant, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, got released from custody, put back in custody, and now there's another hold on his deportation. He couldn't go to El Salvador. He got threatened to go to Uganda. What's your take on this whole situation as it stands today?
I think that the Trump administration is really using him as a test case to sort of double down on their policies and highlight the cruelty. The backstory, the thing to understand is that Kilmar is from El Salvador, and so he got something called withholding of removal from an immigration judge. And just to provide some context, I'm an immigration lawyer. I've done withholding of removal trials, and it's really hard to get. You go before a judge, you turn in evidence, you get cross-examined. It's not just some simple thing. So he received this protection of withholding of removal, and in what was just an error, the Trump administration deported him to the very place from which he was protected. And then instead of just apologizing and bringing him back, and this is, I think, where the whole thing really went awry, they doubled down and determined to convince everyone that they were within the right to send him to El Salvador because he's a criminal, and then, brought up these charges of smuggling and re-detained him, and now they're trying to send him to Uganda. And the whole thing, I think, really stems from sort of a simple unwillingness to just stop and apologize about what they did to this man. So that's, I think, the main message that I see watching all of this play out.
So could he still end up in Uganda? Because I think that would be a fun twist to the story. Instead of going back to his hometown or his home country, he ended up going to the other side of the planet.
Well, I think it's pretty cruel to enjoy someone being sent to another country. I think calling it a fun twist is pretty offensive. But to answer your question, I do think he could end up going to Uganda. Now, a federal judge has ordered that he can't be sent to Uganda while his trial is going, which will be through the early part of next year. But at the end of that, under withholding, he could theoretically be sent to a third country. What's novel about what the Trump administration is doing is they're not just sending people to a third country where they are free. They're sending people into indefinite detention in conditions often of torture in these third countries. So what would happen to him in Uganda, nobody really knows. It's pretty scary.
But he's a criminal. He's a domestic abuser, and he has these human trafficking charges hanging over his head. If he's found guilty in a court of law, would you still oppose him being sent to a prison somewhere?
I would oppose him being sent to prison in a third country, but he doesn't have a conviction for domestic violence. What he does have is that his wife filed for a protective order in 2020, but he was never convicted of any crime related to domestic violence, and his wife has been his loudest advocate. She very much has wanted him to come home throughout this process. And the supposed alien smuggling charges, those didn't come up until after his accidental deportation to El Salvador. And that's what the Trump administration came up with in an effort to cover their tracks. And they said, oh, well, he's just a human trafficker because one time he got pulled over and he had some migrants in the car. So really, if you look at his criminal history, he doesn't have a conviction for domestic violence. He doesn't have a conviction for alien smuggling. And he has pending charges that are pretty flimsy, actually.
Why Uganda?
Well, the Trump administration is looking for agreements with third countries who are willing to sign on to receiving our deportees and holding them in jails. So if you think about there's going to have to be a power imbalance there where a country is willing to essentially do Trump's bidding, understanding that they're going to receive international backlash and that they don't get a whole lot out of that deal. So who knows what backroom, offers are made and accepted in order to get Uganda to be willing to do this. But, I don't know. I don't know what Trump told him.
Well, that just seems really random. It's just Uganda of all places. Have we sent criminals there before? Is that something that you've seen?
No. I mean, like I said, this is all new. We have not, I mean, I've been in practice for almost 20 years, and I have never seen immigrants deported to third countries and held in detention. Something that has existed with withholding of removal is, somebody's protected from removal to their country of origin, usually. And they can be removed to a different country. But it's usually pretty rare to get a third country to be willing to receive someone as a deportee. So what's new here is that the Trump administration is, just from a policy angle, looking to engage in these international agreements with other countries to have them receive our deportees and detain them indefinitely. Like, that is not something that we've ever seen before. It's weird and wild and cruel and unnecessary. I mean, the whole thing is just pretty unsettling. And you and I have talked about in the past, I mean, where does this end? I know that you and probably a lot of your listeners don't think that anything like this might ever happen to you or your own families. But Trump himself has said he's looking to deport U.S. citizens to third countries as well, and people that he deems criminal. And clearly we've seen them very loosely define what is a criminal. It could be someone who just disagrees with them. So a political dissident being sent to Uganda because of what they've said online isn't too far-fetched from where we are right now. And I think that really should be unsettling to people.
All right, this is Kate Lincoln-Goldfinch, immigration attorney. I appreciate you spending some time on the James Show again.
You bet. Hopefully you get a lot of callers.
Yeah, I'll get some emails off of that one. Thank you, Kate. Yeah. Oh, well, look, my concern about the Uganda thing is that it's just so random. It's like, well, Uganda, I mean, do we really trust them? Do we know what's going to happen to him if he goes to a Uganda prison? I think we'd have a lot more accountability if we sent him somewhere nice, like, I don't know, North Korea or...
Oh, Lord. Okay, I'm going to sign off now.
All right. Coming up next on The James Show,